everybody. It's me. I'm back again with another VIVCAST. I'm Viva, and you're listening to VIVCAST, which is a podcasty show where I talk about things. And today's topic, if you read the title of the video, which I assume you did, because you clicked on it, unless you're not watching this on YouTube, which would be weird. You should be watching this on YouTube. I'm talking about BronyCon, which happened a couple of weeks ago now, but I'm only now getting around to talking about it. I intended for the first VIVCAST after the season, after the show, paused and didn't have an episode for ages, to be about BronyCon. And now it's, what's funny is that immediately after this, I think I'll be going back to talking about the regular episodes again. Anyway, so let's start off with the, oh my god, I haven't done this in a long time. Let's start off with the formalities. Where what do I want to talk about? I don't think I have many things I really want. I guess there's last poll. I opened that up. Look, it's the poll, which was, how much did this episode bug you, referring to Spice Up Your Life? Or at least I hope it was referring to Spice Up Your Life. Otherwise, I have the wrong episode open. I'm pretty sure it's, yeah. Which was how much did this episode bug you? And the majority of people said only 1 to 3 small things, and I was one of the outliers and chose it was a huge snowball of wrong. So, okay, cool. Oh, I guess another important thing I could mention is that I made a very big, important animation. I finally released Brony Polka Animated, which is really exciting, and is very much not finished, but it is also, a lot of it is finished, and the people who have watched it have said good things about it. So if you want to go see it, go and see it, because the full updated version is probably over 5 months away, or something. I intend for the full thing to be released later this year, but I have no idea if I'll even be able to get to that point. I don't know. Anyway, that's a topic for later in this episode of VIVCAST, because that's very relevant to BronyCon. Yeah, I think that's formalities over. There's probably a lot of things that I could shove into formalities, but I've been putting this off, and I should probably just start it and not think about it. I should just talk about BronyCon. Let's talk about BronyCon! Okay, so how did it start? It started off with me flying over to America. America is very far away. I live in Australia, so to get to America, Okay, so I live in Canberra in Australia, which is a small semi-rural town, and there's no international airport here, so to go to America, I first had to fly to an international airport, like the one in Sydney, and then I went from Sydney all the way over to Los Angeles, which is on the west coast of the America, and then from the west coast over to the east coast, which is where Baltimore, Maryland is. Also, I didn't know that Baltimore was the city and not the state until after I wrote out the coming into the country card saying that I was going to the state Baltimore in the city Maryland, which is wrong, but nobody exploded at me about it, so whatever, I guess they don't care. Also, I'm a stupid Australian, so I guess it's fair enough that I got close enough. I got close enough. What's important is that it took 3 plane rides to just get to Baltimore, and that was a good 27 hours of travel time, and that's crazy for a lot of people. I've semi-gotten used to it, because this is the 3rd time I've done it now. The first time was to BronyCon, the Canadian one, and the second time was to Ponyville Cider Fest. And I don't know when the 4th time will be, if there's a 4th time. There's probably going to be a 4th time, but I have no plans. No plans on when that's going to happen, so stay updated or whatever. The next convention I'm going to is probably going to be PonyCon AU. The last PonyCon AU, by the way, which is happening early next year. But anyway, so yeah, the plane ride, it was long, or the plane rides, it was long, and probably the worst part about the plane rides is needing to be awake during times where your body is probably not very awake, and that's what happens when you fly from point A to point B, interspersed with needing to jump between different planes, because when a plane finally lands, oh god, I have to wake up and I have to go get ready to like go between the terminals. And in the case for Sydney, in the case for going just from Canberra to Sydney, when I arrived in Sydney, you arrive at the domestic airport and you have to take a bus ride to the international airport. And that took a surprisingly long amount of time. And despite the fact that I had like a 3-hour layover time, I spent most of it just getting to the international airport and going through customs and stuff. Also, I would like to mention that I am very well versed in traveling internationally now, which is a weird thing to say, and not many people can say that, because I've again traveled 3 times now. Technically, not just I say 3 times, quote unquote, but it's more like, but it's like 3 plane rides to America, 3 plane rides to get back from America, and so that therefore 1 convention is 6 plane rides, and I've had 3 conventions within the past year or so, which makes it a total of 18 plane rides within the past year. And a good decent amount of them being international. So yeah, I'm and all of those were solo with nobody accompanying me. So yes, I do believe I am able to say that I am rather well versed in traveling internationally. So hey, that's cool. Where was I going with this? Nowhere in particular. Basically, I traveled to Baltimore, and then I arrived in Baltimore in my winter gear, but it was summer over there, so it was very hot, and I was very, very hot because I was wearing stuffy clothes. That wasn't fun. You know what else wasn't fun? Not being able to get into my hotel room because I didn't know the name of the person who was like in charge of the hotel room. But yeah, we figured that out, and I got into my hotel room and I went, and this was on the Thursday. I arrived on the Thursday. The convention starts on the Friday, but I arrived on the Thursday, and a good suggestion that was made for BronyCon was, because there's a million billion people who go to this convention, it is suggested that it is a good idea to pick up your badge on the Thursday. That way you don't have to sit in a mega super long line to pick up your badge on the Friday, because that's when a lot of the people are arriving. So I went in to pick up my badge, and not too much happened. I met a few people. I wound up meeting Little Shy, FIM. He's a cool dude. He's been on Brony's React before, and he does the Cinema Sins series. Ooh, alliteration. And, well, not entirely alliteration, because cinema starts with a C. More alliteration. Jesus Christ! Anyway, but yeah, that he's a cool dude. I didn't end up seeing him that often afterwards, besides the Brony's React panel. Spoilers, I'm going to be talking about that. But yeah, he's cool. Did I meet anybody else? Oh, I also met Brony Dance Party. That wasn't the first time I met him. I've met him before. He is also a cool dude, and it was nice talking to him, and again talking to him later at the convention. Not much else happened. I went back to my hotel room and I crashed and I bombed and I exploded, and the convention center exploded. No, it didn't, just me. And I woke up really early. I woke, like, this is jet lag at its finest. I woke up and went back to sleep multiple times, but with, like, hour-long intervals of me being awake and then asleep again, and it was not fun. Fortunately, that ended up not happening by the end of the convention, so that's nice. It was just, like, the first couple of nights, mostly. And And then I woke up and went to the convention on the Friday. What happened on the Friday? There was first of all a lot of people. I met a lot of people who were like, "Hey, I'm a big fan." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And they're like, "Can I get a photo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And then I got a photo, and a lot of the people who took the photos tweeted at me, and that's cool. I also signed a lot of stuff. And in progress of me trying to figure out what a good signature is, because I have bad handwriting, I just simply have it as Viva, Viva with a circle as the top of the I in Viva, and it looks kind of okay. Unlike the majority of people who have really fancy handwriting and really fancy signatures, which I do not have, which is a shame, but nonetheless. I signed a lot of things. I signed a lot of con books. I signed a lot of badges. You did a lot of signing. That's neat. And yeah, Friday. If I probably should have had put up the BronyCon schedule, but I couldn't be screwed. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. So I apologize if I leave anything out, leave anything important out that I would have otherwise talked about if I had a schedule up and I looked at things rememberedly. But whatever. Definitely the most notable thing I can mention is the Bronies React panel. That was the first thing that I can say that was really important that happened at the convention, even though that there was definitely a lot more that happened besides that, though. Like, this was a big convention, millions of things happening all the time, and each day took a century. Like this was in the evening. The Bronies React panel was at 9:45 p.m., so in the evening, like, a ton of panels had already passed. So, you know what? There was the animating live panel. That happened. I wasn't on it, but it was an animation panel where a lot of animators were there. So that was neat. I guess there's nothing in particular I can really talk about. I do remember being next to Brainstorm Alex. I could probably mention that. I met up with my panelists for the panel, the Animation Perspectives panel, the important one, which I was hosting on the Saturday, which was the day after the Friday. I met up with Alex, I met up with Animated James, and I met up with Argo Damon. And they're all cool people. And they were totally, and I'm very glad that I got all of them for the Animation Perspectives panel on the Saturday, which we will get to in a minute. Yeah, I hung around with Alex. Oh, and also, what's her name? It's Anna Cloem or something like that. She's a voice actor. And I didn't even realize that for the majority of the time when I was, like, hanging around her. She's cool. She hung around with Alex a lot. I'm pretty sure that's because they both traveled together, which would make sense, because I'm pretty sure she is also a European. Excuse me, not European anymore. Oh, Brexit happened, blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ, brushing off drama like that. Anyway, yeah. Brony's React panel happened. That was an interesting panel because that was the first panel I've ever had, like at any convention, which was like on the big main stage. And it was also my first Brony's React panel. And Mr. AC the Race Best has a Brony's React panel at like literally every single convention he goes to. Also has a like a Hoovesline panel. Hoovesline Is It Anyway panel at like every convention he goes to. Those are both good panels. But I was on the Brony's React one, and it was pretty great. It went well. There was me, there was Mr. AC the Race Best, there was Saberspark, as I mentioned before, Little Shy, and Brony's Dance Party were both there, and there was also Gabe, aka Black Griffin, and he is a cool dude. Everybody up on the panel was cool. Please tell me I didn't forget anybody, because that would be messy. That was me, him. No, I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody, because that would not be good. Anyway, yeah, so that was cool. And afterwards, I think I imploded again. There was that was, oh no, that's right. After the Bronies React panel, I went waiting outside for a century long line of people. Like, after the panel, it was like, oh, we'll meet up with all the people who came to the panel, and like meet and greet everybody after the panel. We were there for like an hour, at the very least an hour. It was a ton of people, and they all came up to us, except for Gabe, except for Black Griffin, because he's like contractually obligated to not do that or something, because he's a part of the show now. He used to be an exclusively fandom guy, but now, because he's actually part of the show, he does music, he does like, music-y stuff. He is not allowed to do that, which is a shame. But, that was a thing that happened. And then I imploded. I went to people's rooms and oh, that's right. There was one point. Was it Friday night? I think it was Friday night, where I met up with a bunch of, like that genre of pony people, which do the stupid stuff, like the Brownies React stuff. I saw Jay Holler, I saw Jake Wyman, that general sort of like faction of people. I'm pretty sure Omega Ozone was also there, something like that. Yeah, there were a lot of people, and I don't remember names from that area very well, but they were cool. And afterwards, I imploded back on my bed and waited till the Saturday. So then the Saturday happened. Day two of the convention. Technically day 3 if you count Thursday, because things did sort of happen on Thursday, but not really. But yeah, day 2 was the notable one. There were 2 panels that I were on this day, and this was the pony production way with Q&A, which I'd like to point out is a little silly of a name, and I would probably advise to revise that one. Ooh, not alliteration, rhymes, yes, rhymes, whatever. Anyway, it was a little extraneous. And animation perspectives, the last one that I had in the day. So, and also the last one I had the convention, because I didn't have any Sunday panels or whatever. But yeah, the Saturday, what happened on the Saturday? A lot of it was me stressing over the panels that were happening later in the day. There were definitely panels that I visited. I don't remember any in particular at this very moment. As I mentioned, I am sorry for anybody who did in fact have panels, things in general. I'm sorry for anybody who I forget, because I don't mean to forget you if you are something that I totally would have mentioned otherwise. Anyway, so I guess I could jump straight to the pony production way with Q&A, which was definitely a slower panel. Like, it was kind of messy, but it was overall, like, I think like this lagging out is okay. Audacity's back, just in case I might have cut out or something, but in case I didn't, I'll assume I didn't. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, pony production way with Q&A. It was a little bit of a messy panel, but overall it sort of brought across the point that was the point of the panel, which was basically like, here's how production works, here's how we do it, and here's like advice for anybody who wants to do it in the future, basically. Yeah, that panel had more name dropping. I hope you like name dropping, because I'm name dropping a lot, because this is about names. This is about people. It's BronyCon. It's a convention where you go and meet people, basically. There was me. There was Time, who was the host of the panel. There was Minty Root, who is an animator. There is DJ Delta, who is like Time's buddy. Time and DJ Delta do music stuff. There was Dr. Wolf, who is Dr. Wolf. If you don't know who Dr. Wolf is, he does like pony reviewy stuff, and he also does the Moment with Dr. Wolf series on his channel. And also Fluffy Mixer. Is that all? I feel like I'm missing out on somebody. No, I think that's it. Fluffy Mixer, who does the Flufflepuff stuff. If you don't know who he is, I am very surprised. But yeah, that panel happened. And like I said, it went okay, but it was a bit messy, rough on the edges, if you will. Then finally, just a couple of hours later, was the Animation Perspectives panel, and this one I was very nervous about because it was a big deal for me, because I held a secret that I had held for 5 goddamn months. Here's the deal: Animated James was one of the panelists in that panel. And the Brony Polka Animated, which is an animation based on Brony Polka, which is written by Animated James, I didn't tell him about. I did not tell anybody that I was going to be animating this super mega long song, and I presented it at the panel with James sitting right next to me. Oh my god, I'm so glad that went well. That was a panel I was very happy about. But it was super nerve-wracking. The panelists, which was me, Animated James, Brainstorm Alex, as I mentioned, and Argo Damon, all of us animators, and the point of the panel was basically, let's talk about animation. Let's talk about, the different types of animation we do, and like how our perspective differs from how other people's perspective of animation. Basically, it was an exciting thing where we made funny jokes and we talked about the animation stuff and we entertained an audience, and I showed off my Brony Polka thing. Basically it went really well, and watch that when BronyCon uploads that to their YouTube channel. Which I have no idea when they'll be uploading that to their YouTube channel, because if I recall, last year it took them a century for them to upload all the panels from last year, which means don't expect it to be speedy this time either, based on their track record. But anyway, Animation Perspectives, that was great. I am very happy with that panel. And yeah, what else? What else happened? There wasn't really anything else that happened on the Saturday. I think, like, after that panel, I was just like, I'm done with this convention. And I hung out with people, and that was like the end of the day for me. Was it? Oh, wait, no. Was it the Saturday or was it the Sunday? No, it was the Sunday. On the Sunday, I went out and had food with people, but we'll get to that. First, I'll talk about what happened during the Sunday, which was nothing in particular. Nothing extremely noteworthy. Basically, like I had no panels, so I wasn't stressed on anything. It was just basically me watching a couple. Oh yeah. Before we get to that, I want to mention that that Hooves Line Is It Anyway, as I mentioned, hosted by AC Racebest, is very quote unquote prestigious panel. Because it was in the main hall and 1 million people wanted to go see it, and it was an hour and a half long panel thing. It started halfway through Animation Perspectives, which was another motivator for me to try and make it a really good panel. But in any case, everything turned out well. On the Sunday, though, what happened on the Sunday? You know what? I went and got things signed. I want to tell this story. This is an interesting story. So, M.A. Larson was at this convention. You may know him as the meme lord, as an in joke within the Brony community, where basically he writes for the show, or he used to write for the show. He doesn't anymore, but yeah, he was very active with the fandom. And he made lots of silly jokes, and he was on Brony's React once. And he also wrote a book. Well, he's written a couple now, I think. But Penny Royal Academy is the name of the book. And I was thinking, like, you know what? To be nice, I'll buy the book and I'll get it signed by him and I'll read the book. And so I went and got it signed, and he recognized me. It was from Brony's Reacts. He was just like, we've been in a video together. I'm like, oh my god, you remember that? Like, because I was in the same Brony's React episode as him. And he just straight up, out of nowhere, said, I know your face, which is really crazy for me, by the way. The fact that not only did he watch the Bronies React, commit it to memory, and then at a whim, at a random convention, at a random signing, goes out and immediately says, I know who you are. That was like crazy for me. That was just like, oh my god, that's cool. So that's me geeking out over the fact that M.A. Larson just like recognized me off the bat. So yeah, he's a cool dude, and I have since read through like a third of his book, which, by the way, I didn't know this until I read the book, but his book is literally about making people who are not previously princesses, which is just hilarious meta humor when you consider that he wrote the Twilight Becomes a Princess episode of My Little Pony. So, okay, that's pretty great. M.A. Larson's a cool dude. Oh, man, yeah. There was, you know what, I was planning to get something, like, signed by Tara Strong, or something, like, not, most of the other voice actors I'd already gotten something signed by, but not Tara Strong. I never ended up getting anything signed by Tara Strong, for a couple of reasons. One, she was more expensive than anybody else. I guess she's more prestigious. And two, the line was like super long 24/7, so bah. And also 3, I didn't really know what to get signed. And 4, I was busy with a lot of other things. I said this was only going to be a couple of reasons. Basically, I didn't get anything signed. That's something I like doing at conventions. I like getting things signed. Pardon me. I like half burped. But yeah, that didn't happen. But that's okay, because Mr. M.A. the Larson totally made up for that. He's a cool dude. I remember that happened on the Sunday. What else happened on the Sunday? Panels, the closing ceremonies. Yeah, it was a short day anyway. It went to the closing ceremonies at like 4 p.m. or whatever. And oh, that's right. During the opening ceremonies, there was a song that was like written by Daniel Ingram, aka the guy who writes songs for MLP. It's an okay song. The people singing it were subpar. But what was hilarious is that on screen were like lyrics, but they were like not timed with the music. So like halfway through the song, they were just removed. So like somebody on production fucked that up. And that's hilarious. I find that hilarious. I find other people's suffering hilarious. And I probably shouldn't. But it's BronyCon. There's like 7,000 people who came to the convention. That was another thing I was curious about, was how many people were coming to the convention. It was significantly less than last year. I didn't go last year, so I guess I wouldn't know. But yeah, last year there was over 10,000. This time there were only 7,000. And my guesstimate as to why that is so is because BronyCon is apparently usually an August convention, but it ran in July this time. And I was thinking, like, maybe because after they announced, like immediately after they announced how many people came to the convention, they said, oh, and also we're going back to August. So I'm thinking, like, oh god, July was a bad idea, we're going back to August. basically I think it's just them like backpedaling on jumping to July out of nowhere, which a lot of people apparently didn't like. That or the pony fandom's going down the shitter or whatever. I don't know. Depends on your perspective, on your hey, full circle animation perspectives. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. After the convention, me and a few other people, like with oh, who was it? Like, there was James there. There was Pika Petey. He's a jolly guy. And like a few other people I can't remember the names of. Minty Root was there. And I apologize to everybody else. But yeah, we went out and had food. One of them was called roasted cashew. I remember that. Because I'm allergic to cashews. Ooh. Yeah, that happened, and yeah, we went back to our hotel rooms, and like not much happened afterwards. Oh, you know what? As a very final send-off sort of thing, on the Sunday, I said bye to Brainstorm Alex. He is a cool dude, and I like him. And also said bye to it's Anna Chloem. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. And then on the next day, which was the day I was flying back to Australia, or well, I mean, 27 hours of travel time. Yeah, you get it. I I went over to the airport, and like I wasn't expecting to see anybody again, and so I'm at the airport. I'm at my gate, literally at my gate, ready to go. And I was sort of exchanging messages, and Alex said, "Sorry, I didn't get to meet you again, but I'm at the airport." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm at the airport too." And so, like, within 10 minutes before my plane goddamn goes, we met up again, like, at the airport. And that was like perfectly timed. We were both leaving, just so happened to be like at the exact same time. So we met up one last time and had a little goodbye chat. That was nice. That was cool. And I think it was rather jolly. And then I flew back to Australia. And it was a slow, like, sort of, like, oh, convention is over, but everything went well, sort of flights, 3 flights. This time, it was, first off, from Baltimore to Los Angeles, and from Los Angeles to Melbourne for some reason, and then Melbourne to Canberra, whatever. And yeah, and then I arrived back home, and I was nice and dandy. Oh, you know what? Funny thing. This is just an interesting post-anecdote thing. Where after, I had my first flight to LA, and then in LA it was a decent amount of layover. Actually, no, it was like no layover in LA, despite LA being a super mega giant airport. I had like 0 time to jump from my place from like last time I had 3 hours of layover on the way to the convention. I when I stopped at LA, I had like 3 hours of layover, which is way too much time. But this time, well, no, I say it was way too much time, but I kind of needed a lot of it to go from between terminals, because you literally need to take a bus to go from terminal to terminal. And unlike Sydney's airport, where you take a bus to go from the domestic airport to the international airport, you had to take a bus to go between places inside the airport, which is crazy. And that reminds me of like Dallas's airport in Texas. I dropped by that one time, and you took light rails, like monorails, between terminals. I kind of liked that. That was cool. But irrelevant, because that was a different convention entirely. I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was Ciderfest. Anyway, yeah, I rushed over from my terminal to the next terminal. Actually, no, I just had to rush between gates. It wasn't as difficult, but like I was rushing to the gate, and I just got like on time. I was like, it was like while we were boarding is when I finally arrived. And then I got in the plane, and there was like, it was like taking a century for the plane to get out of the airport. Like it was just sort of sitting there, and then the pilot was just like, sorry for the delay, but it's taking a while to do a thing here, so sorry. And like I was barely paying attention because I didn't care about the time, because the convention was over. I didn't care when I arrived back home, as long as I arrived back home. And then again, it was just like another 20 minutes later, it's just like, sorry again. this is taking a little longer than we thought it would. And we would like, by the time the plane finally left, it was like an hour later. It was just there for like ages. Again, I don't mind because it was a comfy seat and I had things to do. But I'm pretty sure I watched a full movie, like when I arrived in the airplane, and then we finally left from the airplane. During that whole time, I like got a full movie in because there was a TV screen you can watch movies on. So that was funny. And then I finally arrived home and I was dead tired and had to fix my body clock, and now it is semi-okay. Cool. Okay. That was my convention story. I am surprised I managed to ramble for that long about it, but then again, I'm also not surprised because a lot happened at the convention. It was a good convention and I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll be there next year, not because I don't want to go, but because it's really expensive and I like all my convention funds like are out of my pocket. So oh well. Oh hey, you know what? That's a perfect segue. Sort of perfect segue. Anyway, what I mean to say is that at the convention there was a stand in the vendor hall. Like taking pre-orders for a Viva plush that like is officially like backed by me, and I get money off people buying the Viva plush. It is only $25 dues, that's a thing that like would be really cool if people went and buy Viva plushes. I'm going to be making an advertisement video for it in the future. So this like similar to when I was hyping up the fact that I was going to do a 100,000 subscriber special in previous VIVCasts, and then I finally made that video. I'm going to be making a big video talking about this Viva plush that you can totally buy, or you could just go and like get one yourself. It's like totally fully backed by me, and it's a good plush. It's good quality. You can take the hat off. And like the eyes and the cutie mark are like embroidered. There's like no wires in the tail or the wings or anything. And it's cute and you can own it, and I will love you forever if you go and get one. And it is especially important that people get it because like a production run does not actually happen unless enough people pre-order them. So I'm hoping a lot of people go and get one. And that would be totally cool if you, said viewer, were one who gets one. And in case you're curious, I am fairly certain they ship worldwide because I live in Australia and I got one. Anyway, yeah. Enough plugging for a thing that I'm not even intending on talking about yet. P.S. You should totally do that. Yeah, I was in the middle of saying I don't know if I'll be able to go to the next BronyCon because of funds, but I would totally be up for going to the next BronyCon if I do have funds, is essentially my sayings. Anyway, that's this episode of VIVCAST over. The rest of this episode is going to be dedicated to, like... Oh, wait, I want to mention one last thing. This isn't related to BronyCon at all, but happy 100,000 subscribers again. Like, okay, quick thing I would like to point out. First, I got 100,000 subscribers, and then I made the hooray, I got 100,000 subscribers video. And then YouTube did a weird subscriber purge thing, where a lot of people lost, like, thousands of subscribers, like PewDiePie lost 600,000. I lost 3,000 and went back below the 100,000 subscriber mark. And very shortly before recording this episode of VIVCAST, I got them back. So, thank you for subscribing or whatever. I totally should get two silver play button plaques. That would be neat or whatever. Whatever. Jokes aside, thank you for subscribing and thank you for watching this episode of VIVCAST. Now I'm gonna do like fan art or whatever. Yeah, because that's the thing I do after VIVCAST. I also like just it's been several weeks since the last episode of VIVCAST, so there's like, if I were to go through all the fan arts that I got, would be here forever. So I am thinking I'll only go through the first few, and then next week I'll go through more of them. So if your fan art which you sent to me isn't here, either I somehow missed it, or it's going to be happening, it's going to be showing up next week, because I like showing everybody's fan art. Well, besides the ones that, like, don't really fit on VivCast at all, and, not even made as fan art. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Whatever. Anyway, so, as my browser continues to load right now, I guess I'll just, like, I'll start describing the fan art that I am in the process of opening before I know it is opened. Okay, it's just opened. This is by Ben Animation Official, who has informed me that their name is Banana, like Banana Animation, not Ban Animation. When I see Ban Animation, I think Jan Animation. Which is why I remember pronouncing it like that in like a previous episode of VivCast. Ta-da! Look, it's Pinky Dashicorn. It's Princess Pinky Dashicorn, which is a joke I made, which is from Hip Hop My Little Bootleg, which is a video I made a whiles back. And she has also provided this GIF, this flashing nose thing, which is funny jokes. That's humorous, and I think it's rather funny. Thank you for the fan art. Next is Edgeloop, who is a long running return person who makes fan art for me way too often. And does not need to make as much fan art as he does, but I thank you for doing it as much as you do. Ta-da! Look, it's this is before the image is loaded, so I'm going off memory. This is Scott, and his arm like is shooting a laser or something. And yeah, it's a good, well-made image, and it still hasn't loaded. But you are currently looking at it so that you can appreciate the fact that it does look rather well made and good and the such. So while I let that load, I'll say thank you for that, and move on to the next one, which is also by Edgeloop, which is a Pirate Viva. And it's Pirate Viva with like a beard and the such. I want to say it references like, I want to say it references Canadian horse pirates, but it doesn't necessarily look like Canadian horse pirates styled, sort of. So I think it's literally just a Pirate Viva for the sake of having a Pirate Viva. But I could also be wrong. Thank you for that. Also, the first image loaded. And yes, it looks good, and I like the bionic arm. That's pretty great. It's way better looking than my crappy bionic arm that I put on in the original animation, Scott and Manfrey. And also the second image loaded, which is also good. Yes, anyway, thank you for those. I like them, and they are pretty great. Alright, last one for today. Actually, I only have 2 left. I guess you know what? We'll go through all of them. We're going through all of them. The last one, a third one by Edgeloop. It's the mystical water horse. Look at how pretty the mystical water horse is. It's like look at the bubbles. I think because again it is loading, and you know what? It doesn't help. Okay, let me tell you why my images are not loading immediately. It's because I have like 40 tabs of Google Chrome open, and my computer is very slow. When it permanently has 40 tabs of Google Chrome open. Yes, it does have bubbles. It is a good image. And look at the shading, and look at and it's mystical, and it's great. Thank you so much. The last fan art is by Anthony C., which is interesting. He's one of the people I work with. He's one of the collaborators in the stuff like the shipping game and the A Serpent's Tail, like those collab projects. He's one of the he's the white horse with the blue hair. He's a cool dude. Look at this. It's Ceiling Dash. If I haven't mentioned Ceiling Dash, then I totally should have mentioned Ceiling Dash. Ceiling Dash is a big balloon of my horse that has been stuck on the ceiling for literally over 100 days. It has, however, finally like dropped off from the ceiling, which means that Ceiling Dash is no longer Ceiling Dash or whatever. But it's neat that she was up there for over 100 days. And so yeah, Mr. Anthony the Sea did this thing which is referencing Ceiling Dash, and it's great. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Okay, that's it for fan art. Yeah. So cool. This VIVCAAAST. Right. What is there left for me to do? I guess ask a question. How about like for a poll? How about how was your BronyCon experience? And obviously this does not apply to everybody watching this, but I'm still going to have that be the poll. I'm just going to have some of the answers relate to the people who did not go to BronyCon. How about that? It's pretty cool. I'll do that. Okay, so the poll, press the I in the top right, and you get access to the poll, and you can click on one of the answers, and then you'll be a part of the poll. Cool. Okay. Episode of VIVCAST. Yes, thank you for listening through this whole thing. This whole episode of VIVCAST where I talked about BronyCon. I'll be here next week probably to talk about the new episode of Pony, maybe not. Depends on when I do VIVCAST, I guess. Whatever. In any case, it's great to see you. Great to see you here. Great to see you at the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more stupid shit like this, subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Tumblr, follow me on Tumblr. If you want to I guess also plug my Patreon. If you want to support me, my Patreon's there. Right, I also made a big update to my Patreon. So if you want to read that up, it's on my Patreon page. There's videos that I need to make. VIVCAST was one of the videos I needed to make, and now it's done recording. Hooray! Thank you for coming along again. I think that's like the 5th time I've said that. I need to shut up. Goodbye.